celebrating 40 seasons on the air. Farm Week is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farm Week, here's one big thing driving the food industry: millennials. We'll hear from a couple food scientists about how the younger generation could be changing what you grow and what you buy.
If you're feeling under pressure, here's a solution. Get cooking. Learn how you can use the technology of a digital pressure cooker to eat healthier while also saving you time and money.
And we could all use a little inspiration, gardening inspiration, that is. See how one greenhouse is giving gardeners some ideas for the cold winter months.
And who took home the grand prize at Dixie National Junior Roundup and secured their spot in the Sale of Champions. See what it takes to make the big sale and how the event supports exhibitors getting ready for college. Farm Week starts right now. Hello everyone, I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Troy Molick. Thanks for joining us today here on Farm Week. Leighton, love doing this. We're going to start off the show with a question today.
Fire away, go ahead.
All right, it's an easy one. What's your favorite food?
Country fried steak.
All right, country fried steak. Okay, that's a good one. I would have to say for me, anything Italian. I love pizza though, so we'll go with pizza.
And I like rice and gravy with that country fried steak. But,
all right.
Anyway, that's quite a combo. Pizza and country fried steak.
Pizza and country fried steak. And the reason we're talking about this is because the food industry and the changes in the food industry is leading our first story today. Just go to the grocery store, go online, or go outside on your own farm, and you'll notice people's palates aren't what they used to be. I spoke with two food scientists to get their take on what's behind this new food revolution. Fresh. Organic. Simple. At the farm, at a restaurant, or when packing a school lunch, now more than ever, the way we think about food is changing. The last several years have ushered in a renewed interest in where our food is coming from and what we're putting into our bodies.
I think people are kind of getting tired of what we consider typical processed foods.
Dr. Christine Light-Cord says the type of food many people ate while growing up just isn't as popular anymore.
Across the food industry, I'm hearing about things like wanting fresh foods, less processed, real ingredients.
Simply put, the days of using food to fill our bellies appears to be slowing down.
Well, a lot of people say, the heart of the home is in the kitchen.
Dr. Courtney Christ agrees. Consumers are using food as a way to connect with friends, build relationships, and experience life.
I would say probably a lot of my best times were over food, so I think that's just the culture now. People really want to have that connection to the food and be able to make something that they're proud of or eat something that they're proud of.
Generational shifts are helping to drive new food industry trends. Millennials are buying more food and want to eat things that are local, high in quality, and fun.
They're more willing to experiment. They like new flavors, and that's why the palates are changing.
Technology also plays a major role in helping people discover new foods and where to find them. I gotta Instagram this.
Last night I saw a friend post on Facebook that she found a rice seasoning from Japan on Amazon and was so excited to put it on her popcorn because she heard about that on TV. I mean, we're getting technology influencing the way we eat and the way that we can access things from all over the world just at our fingertips on our computer.
That hunger for information is causing the food industry to reevaluate what they offer to the public.
It's forcing the industry to become more transparent, and I think a transparency within the industry is going to continue to be a trend for consumers and providing the information that consumers really want.
Now, Dr. Christ also told me that one trend that's on the rise is food as medicine, and what that means consumers seek out food that will improve their performance, health, and lifespan.
Well, you might not think about technology being a part of your kitchen, but with a new multi-cooker, you now have one machine that can do the job of 7. That's right, 7, as well as save time and money. In this week's episode of The Food Factor, Mississippi State University Extension's Natasha Haynes introduces us to the digital pressure cooker.
Natasha, all of my friends have been raving about their new digital pressure cookers, so I decided I just had to have one.
Great, I think you're gonna like it.
But what's the big deal? Haven't pressure cookers been around forever?
Carrie, this high-tech device is not like your grandmother's pressure cooker.
All right then, show me the magic.
Let's get to it. Today's digital pressure cookers are amazing in how they can perform so many different tasks all in one pot. They can function as a rice cooker, a steamer, or as a traditional slow cooker. You can saute vegetables in them or even make your own yogurt. Perhaps the biggest benefit, however, is how they can save you time and money. Cheaper but tougher cuts of beef or venison are perfect for a digital pressure cooker. Combine meat, saute veggies, and some liquid in the pressure cooker, and in a fraction of the time it would take to bake or use the slow cooker, you can have a healthy, budget-friendly meal on the table. The pressure cooker is also a great way to cook dry beans in a jiffy. Even if you forget to soak them overnight, you can still cut down on the time it takes to cook them. And electricity saved means money saved.
Saving time and money? That's magic to my ears.
Mine too. It's time to make healthy food a factor in your life.
For digital pressure cooker recipes, be sure to visit the Food Factor Pinterest page.
Sometimes it's tough for gardeners to stay inspired during the gray, cold months of winter. Well, leave it to MSU Extension horticulturist Gary Bachman to come up with a solution. In this week's Southern Gardening, he recommends going to your local gardening center. They just might have some strange and wonderful plants that you won't see during the rest of the year.
Today's Southern Gardening is visiting Pine Hills Nursery, and I always love to explore and see what unusual plants, like this prickly pear cactus, that they have growing in their winter greenhouses. It's a great way to beat some of the winter blues. Of course, they have some of my favorites that we've shared in the past. One of my all-time faves is blue butterfly plant. Who doesn't love the intricate flowers arranged on long branches that actually resemble little blue butterflies in flight? And the somewhat creepy Buddha hand citron with its hand-like fruit that are multi-fingered. Let's add a couple more to my list. First is Mexican flame vine. This tropical plant is a sprawling vine with 4-inch dark green toothed leaves and clusters of reddish-orange daisy-like flowers with golden centers. When planted outside in the spring, this plant is a must for the butterfly garden. It's perennial in most of Mississippi as long as it's heavily mulched, but is easily grown from seed each spring. A plant that not enough homeowners grow are angel trumpets. I don't know why, because they're easy care plants. There are a wide variety of colors, but I'm really liking these purple ones. The coarse textured leaves complement the large flowers. They unfurl from a tight star-shaped bud, opening to white insides and purple outsides. What a spectacular accent container plant. So take some time during the winter season to visit your local garden center for some horticulture therapy and ideas for the coming season. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman, and I'll see you next time on Southern Gardening.
Definitely some good advice. Go to that local gardening center and find some winter plants to inspire you, and I think I'm about to get inspired too.
What's that now? What's got you inspired?
Because the market's with Layton coming up right now. What's in the news for us today?
Well, a well-known name in fast food, a name we all recognize, says that it may be looking for smaller birds soon. We'll be explaining why. Also ahead this week in the markets, a new processing plant is coming to central Mississippi. U.S. catfish processing turns down with the new year, while ethanol production from corn ramps up. A chicken processing plant in Vicksburg has been closed this week due to a fire back on February 17th. Damage assessment continues at the Tyson Foods facility after a valve on a gas line in that plant's boiler room ignited a blaze that was visible on the roof. Tyson spokesperson Worth Sparkman tells the Vicksburg Post all employees are being paid during this unscheduled shutdown. Meanwhile, in central Mississippi, they're rolling out the red carpet for a new chicken processing plant. Pearl River Foods is locating an operation in Carthage, an operation that will create 150 jobs. The Mississippi Development Authority says the company is leasing a county spec building there and investing more than $2 million to create the processing plant. Pearl River is expected to begin operations there in October of this year. Meanwhile, over at Wendy's, they've decided to begin buying smaller chickens, like 20% smaller. This move is based on test marketing that they say consumers rated chicken from smaller birds as tasting better and being juicier. Wendy's thinks that will make for better sandwiches and salads. Company executives tell the publication Business Insider the change will not affect the actual size of the chicken fillets that are used in Wendy's chicken sandwiches. And over at Taco Bell, they think they have found an alternative for chicken nuggets. That chain is test marketing what is called crispy chicken chips. The chips are described as thin, triangular chicken pieces coated in a spicy batter. They are served with a side of nacho cheese sauce. Consumers in Irvine, California and Knoxville, Tennessee are getting the first taste and look at this new idea for fast food chicken. Elsewhere in the markets this week, as we prepare to end the month, there's been a little dip in U.S. catfish processing compared to a year ago. The latest monthly report shows that while pond bank prices being paid to U.S. producers are up about 8 cents per pound, farm sales are down 5% from January 2016. Processor sales are also down year over year, but down by less than 2%. Well, time now for today's trivia quiz. Let's talk honeybees this week. And here we go. How many honeybee colonies are there in Mississippi? Is the answer 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000 or 25,000? We'll have the answer coming up.
Still ahead on Farm Week, Clayton talks with Extension's Brian Williams. He'll tell us why a spike in one thing could mean a drop in another, and who won big at Dixie National Sale of Champions. We'll check in with these livestock lovers. They wait all year for the Dixie National Sale, and it's a chance to win some dough, but also a way to build character and learn responsibility. The full story is just ahead.
I've got a lot of choices to make in the coming years, and I really want to make sure that I get it all right. I want to discover who I am, where I belong, what my dreams are. I want to find my hidden talents and see where those skills can take me in the future. I need leadership given today to help me make the right decisions tomorrow. And I have that with Mississippi 4-H.
It's now time for when we delve into the Farm Week archives to take a look back at what was happening this week in agriculture. And in honor of Fat Tuesday, we're heading back to 1999 when Farm Week went to one pastry shop that was the king of them all. When you think of Mardi Gras, you think of New Orleans, Bourbon Street, and celebrating. And what's Carnival season without king cake? Farm Week visited Paul's Pastry Shop in Picayune, Mississippi. The shop had gained quite the following for tasty confections, and this time of year, the king cake orders were pouring in, about 1,200 each day. The shop offered 40 flavors of the puffy pastry.
All these on this side happen to be what we call a berry deluxe, and it's got cream cheese throughout the cake with a quarter blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, and blackberry in it. And these right here are the traditional cinnamon cakes.
They ship the doughy delicacy nationwide, with king cakes accounting for 40% of the year's business. A quick internet search says Paul's Pastry Shop is still around. So if you're in the market for a king cake, give them a try and let us know what you think. And save a piece for us. And that's this week's Farm Week Flashback.
Distillers' dried grains are a byproduct of ethanol production, and they are often used in animal feed. China is traditionally a big customer for U.S. producers of DDGs, but now U.S. exports of distillers' grains to China have a tariff of up to 50% for the next 5 years. The USDDG industry says that will impact China 2 ways: losing a cost-effective feed ingredient for animal feed and greater food price inflation for consumers. A projected spike in ethanol production is seen as a big reason for a drop in expected corn ending stocks. The numbers were in a recent USDA report that also included some soybean information. Extension's Brian Williams gives us the big picture. Well, how much were corn ending stocks dropped in this new report?
Well, corn ending stocks were reduced by about 35 million bushels, but it still leaves them at a record level.
So why this decrease in the corn stocks?
Most of the decrease, actually all of the decrease, came from a reduction in, or an increase in, our use for ethanol.
So I guess this report hiked projected use of ethanol then?
It did, and it's not really all that surprising. We've seen this happen for a couple of months in a row now, and I think a lot of it can be kind of traced back to the EPA's increase of the renewable fuel standard. They've got it now kind of at the maximum allowed by law. The other thing is that we're seeing the margins for ethanol production start to increase a little bit over the last month, and so that's given some of the refineries an opportunity to ramp up production as well.
So what about soybean ending stocks? What was the story there?
No surprises at all in soybeans, actually no changes at all. Production was left the same, demand was left the same, and that left our ending stocks, again, unchanged at 420 million bushels.
But weren't a lot of analysts kind of thinking there would be a change as far as the stocks?
Well, there was some suspicion that it might change a little bit, especially with the exports. We've really been watching Brazil quite a bit now, and they're expecting a record soybean crop, and that could eat into our exports a little bit, especially given the strong dollar.
Well, as far as that South American situation, is that an opportunity for old crop soybeans or not an opportunity as far as sales?
Well, it could be. There's a little bit of talk about maybe reducing some of the Brazilian soybean production in the future. They didn't this month, but they could in the next couple of months. But I think it's still going to leave it at a record level. So it's really something we need to kind of watch because of the large South American crop.
Back to the trivia quiz now. To wrap things up in the markets for this week, Mississippi is one of the smaller states when it comes to the topic of bee colonies. But our answer this week is D. There are about 25,000 colonies, according to Extension's Jeff Harris.
Those who attend or participate in the Dixie National Sale of Junior Champions will say it's an experience not to be forgotten. The sale showcases winners from Mississippi's largest market livestock show, the Dixie National Junior Roundup in Jackson. Champion and reserve champion animals are auctioned for top dollar, and academic scholarships are awarded to outstanding exhibitors. But the greatest rewards for winners' hard work involve what money can't buy, and that includes character development, responsibility, and other life lessons. For Mississippi 4-H and FFA livestock exhibitors, securing a spot in the Dixie National Sale of Junior Champions is probably the most difficult achievement to reach. Each year, only 40 out of about 2,000 animals shown at Dixie National Junior Roundup will win a champion or a reserve champion title and qualify for the sale. With over 1,600 exhibitors showing more than 2,400 animals, this year brought the second largest roster since 1995. So you might say making this year's sale was even harder than usual. The preliminary total for animals sold reached $325,000. Additionally, over 35 academic scholarships worth $1,500 each were awarded to high school seniors. The committee which organizes the Sale of Champions believes it's important to show exhibitors that hard work pays off. The goal of the Sale of Champions Committee is to make as big of a difference as possible in the lives of exhibitors, so extra efforts are being made to generate contributions to the Sale and Scholarship Fund. Many exhibitors rely mainly on scholarships to fund their tuition, and they say they're grateful to the committee for their support.
The committee knows that everybody can't win. So we give away 35 scholarships of about $55,000. That's just scholarship money. It doesn't go to the winners. These are the people who may not have made the sale, but yet they've written an essay and they're deserving of some scholarship money. So we're actually meeting this year to try to grow our scholarship fund so that we can help more children. We had a young man who the way he paid for his engineering scholarship at Mississippi State was through the scholarship monies he earned by showing animals. He now is raising animals and giving back to the kids who he gives away 3 steers a year to get young kids started in showing. These are the young men and young women that we'd like to see running the country one day.
As they prepare for college, Dixie National Scholarship recipients say the life lessons and scholarships they've earned will help create a path to success in the future.
I plan on going to school at Mississippi State and then coming back home and continue the farm. I plan on going and getting a pharmacy degree and coming back and then running my beef cattle operation on the side as we do now. So I believe the degree will help me grow and expand my beef cattle production and raise it so we can produce more and be more heavily involved. The business and economic side will be great to help you learn how to cash flow your operation to help it grow and expand, and then also the science part of keeping the highest state of health and production for your beef cattle and to be able to get the most profit and the most out of them.
I'm glad that I had those experiences and the help and encouragement and the guidance from those extension agents and advisors that helped me along the way. I plan to go back into extension and put the time and efforts and encouragement back into the future generations of youth leaders like they have done for me. Without the sale committee, none of this would be possible for anybody, not just myself and getting here to this point, but the other youth that have applied and competed against me and others for 10 years now. One of my favorite life lessons I've learned through this is to win humbly and lose graciously. Life, you get the cards you're dealt with and you have to make the best of it, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. But if you keep smiling and push through, tomorrow's another day and you get another chance.
So this scholarship will be used for my time at Mississippi State University. I have been accepted as an honors college student and into the early entry veterinary medicine program. I want to be a large animal veterinarian specializing in reproductive services. So I want to own my own clinic specifically for reproductive services such as artificial insemination, in vitro fertilization, and embryo transfer. It's a way of bringing life into the world and making sure that we're building our industry better and making the cattle that we breed better and more effective for both the breeding purposes and the production services. I definitely plan to give back to a lot of FFA chapters and 4-H clubs, and I definitely would not have found this passion for animals and reproductive services or even livestock in general without my time in those organizations.
This year, some of the recipients got to stand before everyone at the Sale of Champions and talk about the impact the scholarships have on their lives. Hannah Jones of Madison County had 2 animals in the Sale of Champions. She says she'll always cherish the memories and life lessons acquired in her showing career.
I show commercial heifers, steers, and goats. I won grand champion with my English steer and reserve champion with my European steer. You gotta train them so they won't act up in the ring, and you gotta make sure they're good and healthy before you go into the ring so they won't get any other animals sick. It takes a lot of practice. My mom, she helps me a lot. We'll go out in the front yard, work them in the open area, and we'll set them up and make sure they're all set up and they're doing good. It teaches you responsibility and not to give up and to keep trying your best. I gotta get up early, gotta feed mine, I gotta give them hay, water, make sure they have enough water before I leave to go to school, and then when I get home from school, I go feed them and I go check their water and hay them before I go to bed. I want to thank my mom for helping me a lot, my dad and my family for helping me a lot, supporting me.
Other supporters of livestock projects and the Sale of Champions include Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant, as well as State Commissioner of Agriculture and Commerce Cindy Hyde-Smith. Of course, learning about good sportsmanship, responsibility, and work ethic are all important qualities in life. But this year, the spotlight was shown on probably the most important of all: generosity. Exhibitor Carson Keene pledged all proceeds from his champion hog to help fund medical treatment for his friend with liver cancer. A collection was also taken up so others could contribute. By the end of bidding, Carson's hog collected nearly $20,000 for his friend. Selfless acts of kindness prove that showing livestock is about much more than winning trophies, money, or prestige. Livestock projects teach exhibitors how to take it upon themselves to meet the needs of others. And that is a character trait you cannot put a price on. From Jackson, Mississippi, I'm Amy Myers reporting.
You can watch this story again on Mississippi State University Extension's website at extension.msstate.edu. You'll also find our YouTube link on that page, which will take you to Farm Week's video archive.
All right, we love Dixie National. Thanks to Amy for covering that story for us. Looked good. That's about going to wrap it up for this week's show, but big one in store for next week.
You bet. Nothing, of course, wakes you up like a good cup of coffee. The Food Factor will show us some ways to enjoy that cup of joe without all the empty calories.
And we'll head out to Mitchell Farms. The owners tell the story of how they went from small family operation to agritourism hotspot. It's quite the success story.
And this is a wonderful piece. We'll introduce you to Dr. Harold Greer. Hear the inspiring story of how he opened doors to become an agricultural leader.
Once again, thanks so much for joining us this week. I'm Troy Moley.
I'm Amy Myers.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Remember, if you missed a story, you can find past episodes under the Shows tab on our website, extension.msstate.edu.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and join in on the conversation. We'll see you next week.